And if you could make matters worse, he wasn't the only one. When I first got divorced in 21, there was a man I met on a dating app. We dated for 4 or 5 months after my divorce. He was the first man I dated since I was 22. And then 1 year later, when all the discovery of money laundering was surfacing, and after my experience with Alan, I began to suspect that Jeff was FBI too. Mainly because of his employment, the work he did before moving to St. Louis. He worked in DC for 12 years, and his wife wanted to move to St. Louis to be with her family. And he also worked in Afghanistan. And also because of the disturbing things he did to me sexually, which I prefer not to share, even though Cosgrove, Sarah Stock, Stephanie Jones, Sophie Raza were all given a copy of the full testimony in August of 2023. The week of August 21, I texted Peter, the man I knew from church that I knew was also FBI. He told me in our text, "I was sorry to see all the stuff you've been through and disappointed in some of the other people I know who mistreated you. Because of what these men did to me, I'm scared to even go on a dating app. I can't trust someone to be who they say they are. And what they did to me is not right. And I haven't done anything wrong. And I know that they are violating my rights on a civil level, even my basic human rights. I think what men need to understand is that when you are on a higher level, where you have a knowledge and power on a higher level, and you use that knowledge and power to manipulate a woman sexually on a lower level, that's abuse. That's sexual abuse. And I wrote the testimonies to Cosgrove, and I was like, what do we do? What are my options? And I was so disappointed with his response. He suggested that we write a letter to the St. Louis FBI field office and tell them to knock it off. I was like, that's it. That's my option. And he said something that bothered me even more. He's like, well, FBI agents can date private citizens. I'm like, that's not what this was. No, if you're surveilling me, if you're investigating or know anything like details about me, private stuff, you don't get to date me. I reported it to OIG, the Office of the Inspector General, I don't know, a couple months ago, and it says that they can take action without telling me. I have no idea if they've been punished or not. It's not very reassuring either way. It's like being raped blind. Like you don't even know who's doing it. You don't know. There's nothing you can do about it. You feel absolutely powerless. I recently watched the Epstein documentaries, and while I rewatched them, I'd watched them when they first came out, but I decided to rewatch because of the client list that came out and all the buzz around it. And I was bawling the entire time. My heart just went out to those girls because they came to the FBI too. They came for protection. There was one girl with the pink hair, and she said, they're supposed to protect people like me, but they didn't. It's like they didn't care about us. And then I think about the gymnasts that came to the FBI about Larry Nassar violating them. Again, they didn't do anything. And all I could think of was, I feel like they have lost sight of who they're supposed to protect. Not the powerful, not the politicians. They are supposed to protect us, and they're not.